All right, so I'm gonna get right into this video talking about One Punch Man. And the director, Shin the guy, he was talking about basically, I'm sure we all seen it, okay? We've seen how they had a whole episode with Fubuki and Garo going upstairs to Saitama's apartment. They didn't animate them walking up the stairs. We seen the famous, the infamous Garo PNG slide. That shit was terrible, right? We've seen all the bad cases of animation. It was even a shot. I should have screenshotted it. There was a scene in the last episode with Black Luster walking through a hallway, and it was just his back moving up and down. That shit was terrible, right? So yeah, so we got the director, Shin the guy. He's talking out and speaking. Oh, he spoke already, so I'm late, right? So he spoke about how he was leaving and he didn't want to do this anymore because people were talking shit and they're disrespecting him, and it's a lot of people who are watching it illegally, okay, that were really complaining, right? And they're just exploiting and they're just trying to like talk about it to make money, right? And and so he left social media. He left social media and he's like he's done with everybody, right? He said he's not making the account again. So yeah, he said they're rage baiting him and harassing him online. A lot of people like feel like you're like this is saying it's a step down from season one. Okay, if you don't know the history, I'll run it down for you. Season two, they did season two of One Punch Man back in like what was that 20 whatever teen or was 20 something 20, right? They did season two. It was bad, right? Nobody liked it, but there was a lot of decent and like good episodes, right? Garo fighting, for example, multiple different people. And when the hero hunters came, I mean, the hero, the B tier heroes came to get him. He's the hero hunter. They came to get him and stop him. That was a pretty good fight. There was other fights that were pretty decent around and next to that too. Season three comes out now, 2025. Same staff, same studio, JC staff, right? Maybe not the same staff, but the same studio, JC Studio. I'll talk more about the staff later. I got something funny about that. But JC Studio doing season three, okay? Right, we see it right here. Shinpei Nagai, he left, okay? He wanted to go because of all the toxicity and all that online. And we have a lot of other people in posts saying that it's only the West generally and basically doing this, okay? But this is not true, okay? A lot of times it is a fact that this is how it is. I myself have realized and said it like, yo, it's just a lot of people over here complaining because they don't realize what they're speaking from a place of ignorance, or like the guy was saying, it's like for since they're trying to get like monetary gain off it. They're trying to get popular, sensationalize it and all that sort of shit, right? So they're trying to do that. And I agreed with it for a lot of other things. Okay. We have statements from the director that was working on Freyren saying something similar, and how they're going to just ignore people complaining about certain things. They're going to ignore them. Okay. The One Punch Man, I mean, the Chainsaw Man staff kind of got bullied into trying to adapt things differently before. Okay, it's happened multiple times, and not just bullying, but criticism being responded to with the directors either retreating or facing it or just ignoring it, right? So it's happened multiple times, and this is not the first time, okay? But I do feel like this director and the people who also say it's just the West, they are, and they're looking at just the numbers, right? It's also a bad thing. The numbers is a double-edged sword because they do the same thing to say their own show is popular, because they see people talking about how good solo leveling is or this and that, and they're talking about it from Twitter. So they do pick and choose when to see the Twitter responses, and if based on whether or not they're positive or negative. If they're negative, they're gonna just say people are saying it for no reason. But that's not always true. Okay, we all have seen this episode. We've seen the slide, right? How can he still try to say this is like good? Okay, and to go more into what I was just talking about earlier. I mean, just a second ago, right? Just a second ago. It's not just people in the West. I had to search One Punch Man up with the Japanese hashtag, okay? And a lot of people who are Japanese fans, and yeah, albeit we know that there are a lot of people who tweet from different accounts pretending to be different races. I don't know why. That's weird. A lot of fucking weird people on the internet, you know what I'm saying? But whatever. I checked these accounts out. From what I've seen, the ones I screenshotted, they're real Japanese people. I don't know about all the comments in some of these threads, like one of the threads over here that I'm going to talk about in a second. But yeah, Japanese screenshots from Japanese Twitter users, and they live in Japan, okay? And they're not liking this either. They're talking about it and disrespecting it in their own way. Maybe they're not in the comments harassing the director, so maybe he only thought it was foreigners, right? But it is true that a lot of Japanese fans are upset with this too. They don't like it. Furthermore, what I was saying about the staff, some of them are specifying that there's a lot of Chinese animators on it that are messing it up. I don't know. This may be some beef between nations. I don't know, but they've been saying that a lot of them are calling it flash animation. Okay, they're saying it makes the heroes look weak. Okay, these are all translated tweets from Japanese, by the way, because these are Japanese accounts that like I told you. But like I said, I don't know about every single individual account because I didn't check every single one of these. But they're all responding to the main account that I checked that is Japanese. Okay, the one over here, that's a real Japanese account, and they're all responding to that. This dude's saying something about the Chinese staff too, Chinese people. Okay, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, I don't know what's going on in that department. But they're definitely they're not liking the shit either, dude. They're not liking it. So, what's my point? There comes to a point where, yes, a lot of people will complain. For example, in Jujutsu Kaisen, there was a recent fight that happened. Okay, and it was kind of reminiscent to the conversation people had with the entire the whole Pain and Naruto fight, right? And like they are talking about the characters being drawn kind of with exaggerated proportions in a way to portray speed, which is called squashing, or there's a couple other terms for it, but like the squashing effect they use and a technique they use when drawn characters, making them look like they're moving fast and it's just getting crazy and everything, right? Their faces are kind of like moving around and flapping. JJK had a recent fight during the Culling Games arc because they dropped the 2 episodes as a movie. I don't think we have an English translation yet, but people have seen it online or watched the movie on certain websites and whatnot, right? And they're complaining about a certain fight between two characters that were moving super fast through a tunnel. Okay, they're moving fast through a tunnel, and they're complaining about that. And JJK is a highly popular anime. This is not the first time they've complained about a fight scene in that show because they're talking, oh, so fast and blurry, I can't see anything, blah, 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 right? They're complaining about certain techniques and styles and stuff. So those are the type of complaints that, like I was saying, the Freyren director was saying, stuff like that should be ignored because these dudes are putting a lot of effort into shit. And people are just complaining because it's moving too fast for them and whatnot, right? They're just bitching and complaining. And people are talking about like it's gonna be like Blue Lock last second. It's gonna make it come back, and a lot of people are thinking that they're saving it for the animation. Okay, let me talk about this right now, right? The director also said that, with his last parting words, I guess one of them said that like, yo, we are putting everything into this, like the up and coming episode that we're gonna have in like a few weeks or whatever. If people are talking bad about this, then it's over, right? We don't know what the fuck to do. It's over, y'all. Fuck y'all, right? That's kind of what it felt like he was saying. So a lot of people are saying that they're saving it up for the fourth period, like the fourth act of the season. So like the last, what would that be? The last couple of episodes, I guess, of the season, right? They're saving it for that. Or I don't know if they're talking about how many parts. If season 3 gonna be broken up in parts, I don't know about that, but I'm pretty sure he's talking about the last couple of episodes or something, right? So, yeah, this is a thing that they think is going to happen. I'm not too sure about that. A lot of people thought it was this episode, right, with Flashy Flash fighting, because Flashy Flash, it was a good fight. And then, they always have characters drawn on model. They always look nice with the characters being drawn. Even the still frame with Garo, it's just not drawn bad or anything. So they do have like some detailed, it's not as detailed as the manga at all, right? By far, right? But they have some details, and they do it. They have some nice drawn scenes sometimes, and this episode in particular has some really good scenes. But there was a thing that happened also, that got exposed on the internet. I wish I had the screenshot, okay? But I'll tell you, you gotta take my word for it. Search it up too, if you want. But listen, this scene, there was a scene that there was a frame that you could pause it on, and it had the Genga. I don't know if you know what a Genga is, but it's like the drawn animation sheet before they touch it all up. So it's like kind of hand drawn, pencil-y and all that. It has the date and timestamps and shit, and other lines for the framing and whatnot, right? For the camera framing. They had the timestamp for the date on the top of the Genga that was in between, because it was in the episode unfinished, right? It was, you could just pause it and catch the Genga. I don't know why, but this is not the first time we've seen such a big mistake during the season. They had the Atomic Samurai's top knot being cut off of the top of the screen, because the screen was a dark room when he was in that meeting room. So I'm sure y'all all saw that, right? His top knot was cut off by the top of the screen, so he just had half a top knot. But we seen the Genga, and the Genga apparently had a date on it that wasn't too far away from the airing date of this episode. That means that they're not probably spending as much time as we thought they were on each episode. That could reflect the reason why it's not looking as good as it should or could be, right? But for the creator, for the director to come out and say that people are just complaining to complain when it comes to this one, that there's no way he could be serious, right? I know that doesn't make any sense to me, because this clearly is not the best that they could have done this, right? And there's been a lot of other shows and animations like where people, because they, like I said earlier, they try to just look at the numbers, right? And they're saying that, I guess they're looking at how many people are watching it, and they're comparing it to how many people are online complaining about it, because they see on Disney Plus and other places that the anime is airing, that One Punch Man is airing. They probably see the numbers are low, but then they see so many people overwhelmingly complaining about it online. And then in reverse, Japan, they have high numbers on Netflix, but it's probably not as many. He probably doesn't see as many complaints. I don't know, but like I showed you, there are complaints for a fact. But since it's been rated number 3 for like 3 weeks, they think that means it's good. But you can't take the numbers at face value for it being good. For instance, y'all remember the movie Mobius? Mobius came out, or Morbius, whatever the fuck, that vampire bullshit. It had really big box office numbers, but the movie was trash and garbage, and it had big numbers because, one, people thought it was going to be good. Two, after they found out it was bad, they went to go see it to find out how bad it was. That's the thing people do, right? Sometimes people review bomb stuff negatively or positively, right? That's also a thing. So you can't always trust the numbers. People will fluff up the numbers for things like what was happening to Solo Leveling, and they'll overhype stuff and pump it up, but then the thing isn't really meant to go that far, because they tried to let it set sail. They tried to let it fly with fake wings, and they didn't know the wings were fake the whole time. So you're not going to go that far, okay? That type of situation happens. Go watch my video. The Solo Leveling creator was trying to fly too close to the sun. Okay, go watch that video. But anyway, so you got situations like that, or like with Kagurabachi, that one manga, right, with the guy who people were making fun of for looking generic on the main cover, right? They're making fun of him for looking generic. That had a whole lot of infamy before it even came out. It was nothing but infamous, right? And all of that infamy immediately transformed into people talking positive about it, because everybody was there to hate on it. But then when they found out it was good, they didn't just stop reading it, oh, it's actually good, I'm done talking about it. No, they enjoyed it, and they like it now, because they actually thought it was going to be trash. So there's so many people that were hating on it. Infamy and fame are on two sides of the same coin. All they had to do was flip it, literally, right? So all those people that were waiting to hate on it couldn't hate on it anymore, because it was actually pretty fucking good, right? We have a situation like One Punch Man. We have all these people waiting for it to get good, and it's not. They're mad. They're frustrated. They, Japanese fans, because they are talking about it. Okay, they are disrespecting it. Not disrespecting it. Well, yeah, they fuck the show, right? they fucked up, whatever. Okay, I'm not here to make everybody else say that. I'm not about to harass them online, but I think they definitely dropped the ball with the animation. Uh, Fuck the show. Like, I could watch it on Disney Plus because I literally can, right? I do, and I still won't like it. So, is my opinion not validated because I'm not watching it illegally? I could watch it on Disney Plus and it's still bad, right? But in Japan, they are like, this is a summary of what they're saying. I've even checked it myself. We have people saying it in some of those Twitter screenshots. They're talking about how the slide is bad with Garo and the animation's the failure, and the manga has more animation than the goddamn show. Okay, that's a real thing. It's happening right now. Okay, they're messing up a lot of stuff, and everybody sees it. So you got things like Agribachi, like I said, that flipped the whole number situation around because the numbers were there for hate, but then people started liking it. Or you got shows where people love bomb it, even though it's not really, not to say it's not good at all, but you know people are like reviewing it, like bombing, and the reflection of how many people actually like it is lost in the bomb, right? So the opposite could be true too. A lot of people hating on the show, like they're trying to say with this. That's exactly what they're trying to say with this. So many people are hating on the show, and it's a loud, small group of loud people talking. It's making it seem like the whole show's bad. No, we can all go and watch it and end up seeing Garo sliding down a hill. Some people might not critique it. Maybe if the internet wasn't around, some people wouldn't even have noticed this was quote unquote bad animation, right? They would have ignored the scene. That's probably what they're getting at. Like something so minor, people are blowing up like this is bad. Even though there's examples of this throughout the entire multiple episodes that have been coming out this whole time. There's a scene where Black Luster's walking in the hallway, and all you see is Black Luster's back muscles just moving up and down. He's not even really like walking, you know. So there's a lot of scenes like this. Garo too. There's a scene of him walking. He's just kind of moving up and down, right? There's no sway. There's no arm movement. Nothing. The shadows don't even move on him, right? Maybe that's expecting too much. Maybe they say, oh, go animate it yourself. You want us to animate shadows and shit? Go do that shit yourself. I can't. Maybe I can't talk, but I feel like you can at least critique this shit. You don't have to go and harass them. I can at least critique it if I'm not going to animate it myself too, and I'm not watching it illegally, or even if I am, I feel like you still got an opinion, right? I could watch this on Disney Plus and come back and say this shit is still bad, right? Japanese people don't like it either. A lot of fans over there. Too half-ass. All these tweets are translated, by the way. I checked the accounts out. I checked the accounts. Okay? And there were even errors, animation errors. They're spelling stuff wrong on people's clothes. They're drawing people with extra fingers. They thought it was AI and all that sort of stuff. That just happened. Each episode, there's a new animation mistake or error that comes out. I think the Genga being screenshotted during this scene is the worst one, though. That Genga popping out. Okay? And I feel like I'm going to wrap this video up here, though. I'm not trying to rant and go in circles, but I feel like I said everything. Like, he's complaining. I feel like he's being too sensitive. Okay, maybe it's a cultural thing, the difference and stuff. I don't know. But I feel like he's being too sensitive. And he left the internet and said he's never coming back. And he said that in a couple of weeks they have a big episode that's going to come out, like I was saying earlier. And the people think it's going to be something dealing with Garo in the later half. A lot of people thought it was this one because this one had an actual step up in animation entirely. It was a big increase in animation. It was pretty good. But it still was not like the manga. Like they said, it had way less animation and dynamic shots. It wasn't even as dynamic as the manga. Like, even the still frames, like, that's bad. You can't draw your still frames as dynamic as the manga, and you're using a lot of still frames, so you might as well do that, right? But what else can I say? I think if I think anything else, I'll add it in the comments. Okay, I think I covered everything I wanted to. In the other animes and stuff, how they reflected. There's a lot of animators saying this is going to, kind of affect things in the future. But then there's also a lot of animators, because this has always been a problem. This has always been a problem. Okay, and it has always been talked about. A lot of people don't realize it. A lot of more people are realizing it. That's why you got posts like this saying it's just like the West, and they're comparing it to Japanese fans. And despite the online backlash, it's a huge success in Japan. That doesn't mean it's a huge success. This is a complete like I don't even know how to like describe it. This is misleading people. There you go. This is completely misleading. Okay, right. But what else can I say? I don't know. Not much else. Like this really did happen. Okay. I don't know how they think this is actually good. It's not just the West. Um, let's see if it gets better, right? People even making jokes about how Bandai Namco just randomly chose the studio to do this instead of like Mappa or Madhouse again. They just say, "Oh fuck it, give it to JC." And JC staff, they're doing like Don Machi, right? That's why people are speculating it's a Japanese Twitter account, potentially, right? Because I don't think I checked this account specifically, right? I didn't do that. I just see that this person was commenting under the account that I actually did check and verify was a Japanese person. They were tweeting in Japanese in response to them. This could be a Japanese person too, okay? But I think the consensus is mutual when it comes to not liking it and what you don't like about it. It's mutual on each side that it could be because they're putting more money into Danmachi or time or effort into it, or they just don't care. Even though the director said he cares, and before the anime aired, he even said, "I promise y'all, we about to do this shit, man. We about to do this." And then what do we get? We get Garo sliding PNGs. They got him bouncing around the screen like a DVD logo. Like that's what happened. So yeah, like I said, that's it for me. If I have anything else to add, I will comment it in a brief comment. I'm not gonna try to leave a paragraph. But yeah, go check out the other video I made. The solo leveling director is trying to fly too close to the sun, like I said. Okay, and I got a video talking about Bleach, the Thousand Year Blood War. Okay? That's kind of relevant. I'm gonna have them at the end of this. Okay, they might pop up around right now. You might have already seen them a second ago. But I'm out.